For our next adventure in pre-algebra, we are going to look at 5.2, which are congruent and similar polygons. Note, this is not just talking about triangles. We are going to learn different things about different polygons as well. So the first part I want to talk about today is the congruent part of that, so the first word in this. Now, congruent means same shape and same size. So same size, same shape. Another little hint I want to give you at this word is it means that they can be made to coincide. Coincide means you can take one shape and you can just put it over top of the other, okay? And it equals itself perfectly. So it's kind of like putting your two hands on top of each other, how they line up, okay? That's what coincide means. It means to line up. Now, one of the other things you need to know from this is what corresponding means. So corresponding means it's parts of the polygon that are in matching positions. So I have here two triangles, and it tells us ABCD is congruent to DEF, okay? So we can see that angle A and angle D, the markings match on it. We can see that angle C and angle F, the markings match on it. And we can see that angle B and angle E, the markings match on them. We can also see that CB and FE match. We can see that AB and DE match. And we can see that AC and DF match. So I have a little shape for us, and I want us to kind of look at this and see if we can figure out how this is going to be listed. So what I like to do when they have them drawn for us is I like to look at lowest amount of lines going up. So I would look at angles. So I would say, well, in the first one, angle B only has one arc over it. So B is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to assume that the second triangle is going to start with E, because B and E would be corresponding parts. And then I'm going to look at it and I'd say, oh, angle A in the first triangle is the one that has two lines. And angle D in the second triangle has two lines. And finally, angle C in the first has three. And angle F in the second has three. So it should be BAC and EDF. Okay, it's just about matching corresponding parts up at this point. When we get back together, when we do review over this section, I'm going to go into more detail with that, and I'm going to show you how we can set it up. If we're not back before I feel like we need to go over it, I'll stop and I'll do like a little section that just for lining up corresponding parts, because there's actually some kind of neat tricks you can learn with what parts are corresponding based off the information they give us. Okay, so in this, polygons, generally for them to be considered congruent, all corresponding sides must be equal and all corresponding angles must be equal. Now, with triangles, we do have some special rules we're going to go over in a second, but I want to talk about example A first. So example A just says, determine if the polygons are congruent. Here's one of the polygons, here's the other. So the first thing we need to do is we need to check the corresponding sides. Okay, so I can see both my top sides are 6 inches. All four of my side sides, the ones that are more like this, all four of those are all 5 inches, and then both bases are 8 inches. Correct. Check the corresponding angles. Okay, if we look at this, both the angles connected to the 6-inch line on both polygons are actually all marked with the 2 swoops, which means they're all equal. And then if we check the base angles here, we can see they've all got one little arc through them. So those are all equal as well, which means the polygons are congruent. For this, basically, you just need to be able to say everything equals each other when it asks you about polygons. Triangles, like I said, are a little bit different. So with triangles, we have this big chart. Now, I was trying to get it to where SSS, SAS, and ASA came up separate, but I couldn't, so I'll at least make the pictures come up separate. So for the first one, it's side, side, side. And if you look at this, it shows 3 sides of one triangle are equal to the corresponding sides of the second triangle. So if we were to take these two triangles and line them up, all their sides would be equal. When we do that, it automatically makes all the angles equal as well because of other theorems and geometric things that we don't get into until we get into geometry. But basically, it's because the opposite angles that are opposite equal sides end up being equal. That's why side, side, side works. Now the next one is side, angle, side. Now I want to note the little asterisk down at the bottom here. It says included means found between the two angles / side, and that's what this means. So 2 sides in the included angle are equal to their corresponding parts in a second triangle. So if you see this, you can see how the angle that's marked is actually in between the two sides. So it's the angle that the two sides are forming. So they're kind of like chomping down on it. That is the angle for side angle side. And then angled side angle is the flip of that, where it's the two angles and their included sides. So you can see that side is connected. It's like the adjacent side to both of those angles. So it would be like these two angles, and they have that common side on the bottom. So this is actually what some of your homework is going to be doing, is it's going to say which one of these matches the triangles that you're given. But I want to do one more example before we move forward with that. And that is determine if the triangles are congruent by either side, 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 side angle, side, or angle, side, angle. Okay, so this is our first one. This is our second one. And this is our third one. I want to give you a second to go back and check and see if you can figure out which is which. Okay, so for the first triangle, I'm going to look at this. So this is triangle ABC and triangle XYZ. So if we look at this, yeah, we would have to do some flipping, but we could get them to line up. And when we get them to line up, we can see that it's two sides and the angle that is formed in between them, which is side angled side. So it's like a sandwich, okay? Now if we look at the second triangle, we can see, again, if we move it around a little bit, we can line them up perfectly to see they are in fact congruent. And we can see here that it's got all three sides marked, which is going to be side, side, side. And then for our final one, if you'll notice, we have two angles and the side that is between them marked, which leaves us with angle, side, angle. Okay? Don't forget, you have a homework assignment today. I need this to be done and completed. And if you're not emailing to me, I will write these down and check on it when we get back in class. If you have any questions on this, you have the page numbers in your book. It's page 194, 193, 194, and 195. And we will be finishing up this section tomorrow. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask me, and I will get back with you as quickly as I can. Tomorrow's lesson does involve actually doing some math instead of just looking at shapes. So be ready. I'll see you guys then. Bye.